So starting with the very first story, Coyote versus Acme is one of the stories or movies that nearly got axed by the axe of David Zaslav when he took over Warner Brothers from AT&T with his Discovery Company. And when he took over, looking at um, the huge debts that Warner Brothers was in, he thought it best to ask a number of movies, whether rightly so or not. He was seeking at reducing the debt of the company, or now WBD, that is Warner Brothers Discovery. And one of the films that was almost on the chopping block was Coyote versus Acme. And in a twisted turn of event, it looks like it is not going to be asked anymore, as Ketchup Entertainment has acquired the property for $50 million and is going to receive a release in actually 2026 in somewhere in August. And they also gave Kinology, an international distribution company, who sought to secure a potential um, distribution sale in Cannes this year. So that's quite an interesting story we are embarking on today. So let's take a quick read at the Coyote versus Acme story published in the Empire, and it gives us much more information as to what is happening. So Coyote versus Acme will reveal what makes Wile E Coyote tick. We want to get into his soul. For a while, it seemed impossible, but it's finally true. In 2026, audiences will get to see Coyote versus Acme, the live action animation hybrid comedy that was unceremoniously dumped by Warner Brothers in 2023 for a tax break to match public outcry. Early word from insiders is that the Looney Tunes movie is a supremely funny film depicting the legal battle between the embattled Wile Coyote and the Acme Corporation that has routinely dealt him damage through explosive and defective products. Now, under a new distribution deal, fans will get to find out for themselves if it was worth the wait. Director Dave Green is excited for people to see another side to the Looney Tunes legend. When we grew up watching him, there is something kind of villainous about him, he tells Empire. We want to pop that myth and get into his soul and show you what really makes him tick. The results he promises are very laugh out loud funny and will have you firmly on Team Coyote. While he has been absolutely maligned for 80 years, he's been blown up, he's been smashed by anvils, and just completely mistreated by the Acme Corporation. He reasons. And the more we read this piece, the more you laugh, and you also realize what Wile E has a really great case here. So that is just a bit published in the article on the Empire website. And that is quite interesting to read because it looks like the recent case of Coyotes versus Acme battle is almost like what is actually or is going to be portrayed in the film itself, seeing that it nearly got axed and whatever it tries to do to be able to salvage itself, it looks like it doesn't seem to always go the way of Coyote. But finally, it looks like Coyote has received justice, seeing that finally it will be in cinemas for people to watch this hilarious film that seemed to be the talk of town for quite maybe for the better part of almost 3 years. And that is quite exciting to see. And I can understand the outcry by the crew and cast of the film, seeing that they've put in years of their life to make that a possibility. And this seems to be uh, almost a similar trend of the superhero film, the Zack Snyder universe. But not to detract from the focus of this story, animation is quite a difficult project to embark on, regardless of whether it is a hybrid as we have seen in this production, or be it a full-blown one. And it's quite tough. Even if it is a live action film, it is quite tough. And unfortunate for the makers or the participants of the movie the Batwoman, or is it Batgirl, the Batgirl, and Scoob. Those two properties unfortunately got axed, with some insiders saying that Batgirl in particular was not really a good film. As to whether that is the case or not, I think it is very heartbreaking to have your film not show, and that I can understand. But I can also understand from the point of view of executives or owners of the Warner Brothers. And Dave Zaslav is in a very peculiar, or was in a very peculiar situation, seeing that he didn't potentially, or he didn't actually greenlight any of these projects that he asked. But for some reason, it looks like one way or the other, he's been convinced enough to let someone else take upon this property and distribute. And finally, Ketchup Entertainment has done that. And Ketchup Entertainment actually is not just this film actually happens not to be the very first that he has, or they have salvaged from the hands of Warner Brothers on the chopping block, by another Looney Tunes film, that is the day the world blew up, was salvaged by them and was released early in the early part of this year, if I'm not mistaken, in February. So it is indeed exciting for fans who are diehard fans of this property. I actually also had the opportunity to grow up on the Looney Tunes, watching from Daffy Duck to Tweety to Piggy, and all those characters that you can find within the IP franchise of the Looney Tunes. So finally, this is going to be released. Actually, it's going to have a proper theatrical release date come August 2026. So it is indeed exciting that all those who worked on it, from Will Forte, let me see, yeah, Will Forte, who happens to be in this very image, to John Cena himself, who is indeed a big star, seeing the movies that he's done, from Pacemaker to other, the Fast and Furious franchise. So I'm sure they are excited to finally have the production that they have been working on for quite a while finally receiving its proper theatrical release going forward. So that is indeed exciting to see. And this particular property indeed was worked on by quite a number of big or heavy Hollywood executives. Talking about James Gunn, who is now the co-chair of DC. He actually crafted a story and actually pitched the whole property to Warner Brothers to get it made. And this particular story is written by, it's directed by Dave Green, who was the director of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Out of the Shadows, and also Earth to Echo, and is written by Sammy Birch. Sammy Birch, who also wrote May December. And you also have, based on the story by James Gunn, Jeremy Slater, and Birch himself. The producers for this particular property is actually the Faria, Chris DeFaria of the Lego Movie, and James Gunn of Guardians of the Galaxy as well. So this indeed is another triumphant win by fans of the Warner Brothers property, and it looks like finally it is getting the release that it deserved. And almost similar to what happened to the Zack Snyder or the Snyderverse, the fans of this property also embarked on a release campaign, a hashtag release campaign, with a hashtag release Coyote versus Acme movement as well. So it's quite interesting that this is happening to Warner Brothers once again. However, this doesn't involve a huge capital injection like the Snyderverse did. And finally, they are receiving this particular property being released in the cinemas come next year, 2026. But the key to this story is how those who may not be directly involved in the property but still watched it spoke highly of it as well. And I think it is perhaps it will be nice to read about it. So from the Dave Green himself, he spoke about this that when we grew up watching him, there's something kind of villainous about him, which I've already read. And let me just pick another article that spoke highly of it. So so when you go to the the directors of Batgirl also spoke about how wonderful of a film this is. Will Forte himself, who happened to be the main star, said that when he heard that a film is being canned or being axed, what he thought of was the fact that maybe this movie was that bad, but he got the opportunity to watch the entire film. And when he did watch the entire film, he loved it so much and actually sent a message out there to both crew and fans, hoping that this film will see the light of day. So several filmmakers, even from Phil Lord and Chris Miller, also saw the film and spoke highly of the film as well, how entertaining it was and how touching of a film that is, particularly concerning the ending. So, indeed, finally, it looks like justice is being served for the cast and crew of this film, and hopefully, it does well at the the theatrical box office, and that may go a long way to make sure that films of that nature doesn't get to be canned ever again. So let me know what you think about this particular property of Warner Brothers. Are you looking forward to seeing this particular film? And if you are looking forward to seeing this particular film, what are you more excited about? Is it the emotional deep take of this classic cartoon character, or perhaps just the nostalgic moments is going to put you in when you finally get to see it? Whatever your thoughts may be, kindly leave it in the comment section below.